You don't need to have watched a lot of television shows to know that finales can be tricky. It's a whole lot easier to lay down a bunch of mysteries than it is to reveal all the answers in a satisfying way. This is the tightrope the Council has been forced to walk in their 5th and final episode, and I'm happy to say that it mostly sticks the landing. It has the kind of ending that makes me happy that I played the season, but not intrigued enough to demand more episodes. It's a mixed bag. This has been a rough season for Louis de Richet. They went from being a clueless investigator to learning that he's the son of Lord Mortimer, the millennia-old host of this particular dinner party. And if that wasn't enough, Louis discovers that he possesses superpowers, all while navigating a mansion filled with famous world leaders, dangerous twins, and demons that can read your thoughts. He solved puzzles, got himself in trouble, and may have accidentally got his mother killed. Depending on the choices you make, of course. Like I said, it's been quite a season. In this finale, we see Louis making a last-minute plea to sway enough votes to get his way. While that may not sound all that exciting, Checkmate is one of the more interesting episodes. Not only does it answer most of our questions, but it's the first episode to be playful in the use of locations. This episode goes from being more of the same to a psychedelic fever dream in a blink of an eye, and it remains interesting all the way up to the very end. I have some issues with how the game ends, but I like how different this episode feels. Too bad the rest of the season wasn't this over-the-top and surreal. As a standalone episode, there isn't a whole lot to Checkmate. The first chapter is mostly heated conversations, which ultimately leads to a lot of painfully easy puzzles. You don't spend much time exploring the mansion or completing side quests, because this episode is leading you down a linear path with a somewhat satisfying conclusion. The story it tells is interesting, and I like some of the set pieces, but this is by far the easiest and shortest episode of the season. Now, without getting into massive spoilers, I'll just say that I found the ending to be a bit anti-climactic. I'm happy that it answers a lot of the questions, but I was surprised by how quickly everything wraps up. I also don't like how new powers are constantly being introduced at the convenience of the plot. There's a thing that one of the party guests does towards the end that makes him seem almost impossible to kill, yet the solution is shockingly easy. It's a neat story full of twists and turns, but the ending undercuts some of what they set up. The Council ultimately squanders these historical figures, never fully justifying why they're part of the story. You would think that some of the more fantastical events that happen in the game would change these world leaders forever, but the outcome is that a few of them form partnerships and trade deals. There's a really good idea here that is completely lost as it tries to explain its own mythology. I also don't think the episodic nature helps this series. If you're watching this review, then chances are real high that you've already played the first 4 episodes, and maybe even this finale. But for those who haven't, I think that this might be better as a long binge. The episodic nature breaks up the momentum too much and ends up repeating a lot of the same ideas over and over. It doesn't help that you're largely stuck in the same boring mansion for all 5 episodes. One thing I like is when episodic games make dramatic changes from one part to the next, and there's really nothing like that until this finale. This is one of those adventure games where the story is just interesting enough to make you overlook some of the imperfections. The problem is that these imperfections keep piling up. It's the crummy performance issues, the white text on white background, and the way that objects will just clip through the character's face in weird ways. And it goes beyond just the technical issues, because I found that the puzzles seem to get worse and worse with each passing episode. It's the type of game where I'm happy that I played through it, but I'm not sure how excited I'd be for a second season. As a season finale, Checkmate is a solid episode of The Council. It has the unenviable task of trying to wrap up a whole lot of mysteries in a short amount of time, and I would argue that it does a mostly satisfying job. The ending is a bit anticlimactic, and it's occasionally in a rush to get you there, but there's a sense of urgency here that you don't get in the other episodes. And while there are certainly some missed opportunities and a bunch of lame puzzles, I find myself willing to give The Council a tepid recommendation. Hey, thanks for watching our review. If you liked what you saw here, then you should know that we post new reviews and features almost every day. Now, here's the question I have for you. Are you interested in a second season for the Council? Or are you okay with the story ending here? Or maybe you didn't actually play the game and you're still watching this review. I'm curious to hear your thoughts in the comments below. In other news, I'm hard at work on a review of Earth Defense Force 5, along with Electronic Gaming Monthly's Best and Worst Awards of 1995. We still have a lot to get through this week, so I strongly recommend you click that subscribe button and support what we're doing here. Until then,